Welcome back to Elevation Perspective. My name is Mark, joined today with Frank Tropiano. Frank, tomorrow night is the Saturday night main event. Before we jump into that very small four-match card, I want to pose you kind of a question or see your take on the matter here. Right now, I feel like we're in a little bit of a lull with wrestling, kind of like coming out of WrestleMania where there should be like new stories and fun, exciting things going on. I feel like right now, I'm not really getting that on a week-to-week episodic TV. I mean, for right now, and like I said, I'm going to give you a full explanation, a full time to give your piece. But John Cena with this heel turn to me has not really hit just yet. Maybe it will, but I feel like right now it's not great. Jey Uso is your other champion. They established this or they introduced this Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman stable, and then it's kind of like just doing their own thing. I really wish they gave that belt to Seth. But like I said, I feel like we're in a little bit of a lull. Frank, what's your take on the matter?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're probably right about the lull. The Cena heel turn feels like it's missing a little something. I think you can get there. I think we just need to get full circle. Problem with that is that it already feels like there that at least for a moment there that it looked like he was going to start reverting back to being a face, and then they stopped it really quickly. So clearly we have a little ways to go there, but it is already turning there. In terms of the Seth stable, I've loved everything they've done so far. I think keeping Seth away from the belts for now is fine. Let Jey Uso have this run. Seth might have to take it off of Gunther. We're going to have that conversation. I think that's probably a conversation we have tonight because that's going to go on Monday after Money in the Bank, which is interesting. Um, but yeah, I love the Seth stable. Everything else has felt a little stale. I like what Aleister Black's doing on Friday nights. I like what Rusev's doing on Monday nights. Hopefully, we put them in a little bit more serious stuff. But right now, you're right. There is like a little bit of a lull for sure.
All right, I wasn't sure if because you're usually the more positive one, and I'm usually a little bit more on the negative side. But interesting to see that we kind of see eye to eye on that. But going into this very short four-match card here, first up here we have Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. This one's in a steel cage match, and I feel like this is the one match on the card where I'm not quite sure what they're going to do here.
Yeah, I am leaning Damien because I feel like he then has to get his win back. But if we do Damien, then that means these two both need to be in Money in the Bank and probably stop each other from winning that Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah, but a steel cage is usually like the big payoff. You don't usually kind of have the steel cage match and then keep on going with the feud. And I don't think anyone's asking for this feud to keep on going either. So that's why, like, I kind of think it should be Drew. But I get what you're saying. Like, why would we even have this match again if Priest was not going to win it?
Well, I would say that they could make Drew go over a definitive winner here. I will also say that this match is going to be great. You know what I mean? When they get storylines aside, when the two of them get in the steel cage, they both move really well for their size and everything. Like this is going to be a really great match. Um, but I think Priest wins. I think this bleeds over into Money in the Bank, especially because they're the easiest two to say. Put them in the Money in the Bank match. They don't have to win. They're literally the last two men's Money in the Bank briefcase holders. So they can screw each other over again. We can have a big payoff at SummerSlam if we want to do that. It would feel like a really long amount of time for this feud, but it's Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest is absolutely, getting close to that echelon too, the way they've been booking them. So they could do it.
How do you see the finish going?
I think I think something screwy, like a little screwy, has to happen where if they're gonna give Priest the win, it's gotta feel like it's taken out from under Drew, like every single one of these things, right? So either the ref gets knocked down on like a pin, or Drew tries to escape the cage and like they can't unlock it from outside, or they can't open the door, or something like that. Something where Drew is about to clearly win and it just doesn't go his way, so he can get back on the mic on Friday and sit there and say, "Oh, see, again, every time I get screwed over." So I think Damien wins in that kind of fashion.
All right, I'll go the opposite direction. I'm going to say Drew wins this match, and doing so, they write off Priest. I'm gonna
Okay.
say that's the path here. Drew does some crazy, heinous thing, bunch of claymores, maybe throws him through something crazy. I think Drew's written. I think Damian Priest will be written off TV here. Take a few months off and we come back. I feel like we both talked about like a possible character reset for Priest. I think he's probably in need of it, and I feel like this is a decent opportunity to do that.
He needs new music. Our friend the heel, who's always on with us, always says it. So I want to credit him with that. But it is impossible to pop to Damian Priest music. So he definitely needs something new, or he needs like a new start to his music or something like that. It is bad entrance music, and I think he's being held down from that. He's like a good character who's being held back from the entrance music. It's
Is
not
that
fair to
a
him.
is that a Def Rebel?
I actually don't know who does that one, but I wouldn't be surprised. But that's just,
All right, I'll take McIntyre. You'll take Priest. Our next match here, tag team match: CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus that new faction of Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. I think Rollins and Breaker win this match, but this could also go either way.
I feel like this is the lock of the night. And you're probably looking at me crazy because of what's on the card later, but I'll explain myself later. This is the lock of the night. And the reason I say that is because you can't have Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins lose this match. They've done a really good job of establishing the type of heels they are. They've done a really good job of faces pushing back. Now, I know everyone wants to see that third member get added. Would be cool if they did it that way. I'm also okay with a clean 1, 2, 3. Sammy probably takes the pin from Braun Breaker if I had to guess. Leave
Yeah,
Seth and Punk out of the finish.
that seems pretty logical. I think this is a good opportunity to introduce that mystery, probably third person at some point added to this group. Also, though, like a slight part of me on the CM Punk Sami Zayn side, what if Roman comes out? What if Roman Reigns comes out, maybe distracts them, just his music, Paul goes crazy. And I can see Seth taking a pin here. I think we're both in agreement that Braun won't, but
Yeah, they can't do that.
I can see Seth taking like a CM Punk pin here with Roman's help or something.
I don't think Punk or Braun take a pin. I think it's if it's Punk and Sammy losing, it's going to be Sammy, and if it's Seth and Braun losing, it's going to be Seth. Braun should definitely not take a pin here. Like Punk can take a pin, I just don't think they'll do it.
Yeah.
Braun should not. Like there's just no reason for that right now. If they want to do that later on when there's like ascension and they eventually go to break this stable up, that's great. But you just started.
Yeah.
Please, let's not even go anywhere near Seth getting mad at Braun Breaker or anything like that. Treat him like the golden muscle that he is right now.
No,
Literally golden. Everyone keeps making fun of all those spray tans.
for
I
that
don't.
reason, they are brand new. Like you said, we're trying to establish them as this dangerous force. They really should win their first kind of official big pay-per-view like match here. But yeah, no, I think we're in agreement here that Seth and Braun win this match.
And to your point, if they were ready to pull the trigger on Roman, I just don't think he's going to be back. Until like probably like around SummerSlam, right? But if Roman was back, and so then it was like, okay, well now they need to find the third member, and then that's the way they want to do it, and then have the win over Roman, Sammy, and Punk. That's a huge win. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
yes, I could absolutely see them doing something like what you're saying, and then maybe like have. We're all assuming that there's a third member. They haven't told us that there's a third member, but it feels like there should be a third member. You know what I mean? It feels like that person and Braun Breaker should win the tag team titles. Well, Rollins holds the world championship, and they should just kind of wreak havoc over their opponents.
I guess while we're on the topic, is there a wrestler? I know there's kind of some speculation on who it could be. Is there somebody that you look at like, wow, that would be a great fit for this group here as that third man?
I loved Austin Theory or Grayson Waller for this. To be completely honest with you, I think Braun needed like a little rub to get him into like, wow, okay, he is like main event status. Those guys could really use it to get to the upper mid card. And I think the other guy, after being like betrayed from the partner, right, whoever it might be, would get the rub. Now, I don't think they're going to do that, but those guys, just from a look standpoint, like Grayson Waller fits in that stable, and he's like cocky. And then that again, when we're talking way down the line, when this feud goes, like that could lead to that dissension of him not wanting to be like in the stable anymore because he wants to go out on his own and be like this big thing. We're looking for our Randy Orton, right? We're under the assumption that Seth is Triple H, Paul is Ric Flair, who is not going to be wrestling, but just in that mentor role, and Braun is Batista, right? So we're looking for our Randy Orton. I'm literally looking at guys who like look like Randy Orton. You know what I mean? Like who are the same physique, the same type of characteristics when of a young, cocky Randy Orton. You know what I mean? I think either of those guys would be a good fit.
I struggle with Austin Theory sometimes because I kind of get the idea too, where I'm like, he should be doing more, but also I'm kind of like, I don't think I see him. I don't think I could see him in like a main event status, which I'm sure you can say that about a young Randy Orton and other guys like the same. You don't know like what putting the rocket on this guy and putting him in this group can do for his career, but I don't really know about Austin Theory.
Look, I think there's a lot of guys. Carmelo Hayes was another guy that I know a
That's
lot of
mine.
people mention.
Hmm.
Absolutely would love that. I feel like he's underutilized. There are plenty of guys on that roster that can be put in this spot. I just hope they pick the right one, and that's going to be, on them.
I was going to say for me, it's two guys who have had an outstanding, very long rivalry with each other, and that is Carmelo Hayes and NXT's Trick Williams. I feel like you bring up one of those two. It's not bringing up in Carmelo's case; it's kind of bringing him over. But you put him in that group, and I mean, I think he has the look. Trick Williams,
Trick would look golden in that
he looks
stable for
really.
sure.
I think that'd be really, really great. But of course, we'll have to wait and see. We don't even know if we'll find out on Saturday. I think that's just some serious speculation.
And I can't stress it enough. We don't even know that there's a third man. Everyone's just
Yep.
saying that there needs to be a third man. So like I can't imagine them not doing it, but there's always a chance.
Our next match here, two pretty controversial title slash main event matches here. First up here, Jey Uso versus Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight Championship. And this is kind of what I meant earlier, where like we're just in this period now where like the two big matches are Jey versus Logan and Cena versus Truth. And I'm just kind of like, what are we doing here?
Well, I mean, look, this is a Saturday night's main event, and they kind of set the precedent for Saturday night's main event, right? There's going to be title defenses. There might be a mid card change, but I wouldn't expect anything. This is not a pay per view. It's clearly a step down from a pay per view and a step up from a Raw or SmackDown. So it's in between, right? So I actually think Jey Uso versus Logan Paul. I don't actually have a problem with that match at all. I think Jay is going to win. One word, four letters. Yeet. And it's just going to be it shouldn't be more than that. And this one should be a lot of fun given, the skills of the two. So I actually don't have a problem with this one. I know everyone has a problem with the next one, and we'll get into it. But
No, it should be a good match. They're both obviously good workers. I'm sure Logan will get multiple spots where they make you think he might win, but Jay will ultimately win. Do you see it being clean?
yeah, I think this should just be spear 1 2 3 or splash 1 2 3, and it's over.
Okay, and hopefully that's the end of the feud and Jay moves on to something more interesting. But here for the main event, and this is, you know how I feel, I know how you feel. We've gone back and forth about this for a very long time. It's John Cena versus R-Truth. The title is not on the line, so that does open up different possibilities, of course, for the finish here. But I'll give my piece first. We have such a small amount of time with John Cena left. We have very few matches. We have very few appearances. He's made that very clear. And we're giving R-Truth one of these 6 to 8 probably matches left here. It frustrates me. I get it. I know the story's there. He praises John Cena. We know it's kind of been a funny, gimmicky joke thing, and now we're incorporating that into John Cena's farewell tour, into the last ever John Cena versus Randy Orton match to decide that match. I'm disappointed. I don't like what's happening here. The match will probably be fun and fine, and like I said, who knows how they get to that finish with the title not on the line, but I'm just disappointed that it's happening.
For me, I'm the opposite. I'm happy this is happening. I feel like it's been like a thing for like how many years has this been part of Truth's gimmick? Like, and I know like you're gonna say Truth is not an important character. I would argue that Truth is probably one of the more important characters on WWE television. He's the only joke that consistently hits, right? How many times have we seen a joke character and just rolled our eyes and been like, okay, we don't need this. This is such filler. Truth is never filler. It's always entertainment. Like he puts the entertainment in sports entertainment. So for him to be in a spot like this against John Cena, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. The title's not on the line. Don't count him out from winning the match. And I'm dead serious about that.
Yeah, I mean that's why you wouldn't put the title on the line to have some kind of crazy finish like that. If I don't know if they want to pull the Cody string, whatever they want to pull there, but to me, you could have just had John hit the AA on Truth, and that was a nice little nod to all of this. Like, we're there, there it is. There's kooky Truth, and like whatever might. And I just feel like I don't know. Like you say, it's the Saturday Night Main Event. It's not a major pay-per-view, but this is a spot that could have been given to somebody else that I feel like I would have enjoyed more.
See, to me, if there's one guy in all of this, like John Cena's greatest hits, and I know him and Truth never really like actually interacted, but like this is part of John Cena's lore, whether we like it or not. if there's one guy that I would say like, okay, like let's get one over, like let John's gonna let get over on him. It's not gonna be Randy or Punk or something like that. Like those guys have gone back and forth forever. It's gonna be somebody like R-Truth where we're not expecting it. Like the twists and turns of this are what make it fun, and I'm excited to see how they pull it off. But I'm almost convinced Truth is actually gonna roll up John Cena at I don't think it's gonna be like a definitive John Cena's out 1, 2, 3 off of. I couldn't tell you what is Truth's finisher.
He does the
Is it
scissor
little?
kicks.
Does he call it Little Jimmy? Is that the finish? Is that the name of his finisher? I see.
As the
I
R
don't even
Truth
know.
guy on this chat, you should know
I
who
know that's That's
what his
fair.
finish is.
That's fair. Um,
But this is a run of either tying up stories or like finishing off stories with great rivalries or possibly elevating new stars. And I feel like Truth doesn't fit into either of those categories.
I think because of the fact that it's going to be Cody that winds up taking or everyone's relied to the fact that it's going to be Cody that's going to take the belt off of Cena. That has taken a lot of steam off of this for me, where I'm like, it doesn't matter who he comes up against because then we're just going to go back to Cody. And for the record, I don't have a problem with Cody. I think Cody's been brilliant since his return. You know what I mean? Like I if the put the belt back on Cody, great decision because he's was in a suit at Universal the other day. Like he's the corporate guy. Like that's who he is, and I'm fine with it. I'm just saying the there's no unknown here, right? We eventually believe he's going to face Punk, and I think they've said that later down the line it's going to be Cena and Punk. I imagine that's going to be his last successful title defense, and then whoever is going to take it off of him is going to take it off of him. But we know that, and we know that it's probably going to be Cody, and I think that's what's taking the steam out of this for me.
That was the unfortunate part of Randy being his first defense, where if that was later down the line, like we could have been really invested in that as a possibility. Like, wow, Randy might take the belt off him one last time, the two of them going at it. But of course, it was his first defense. We knew it was not going to. We didn't know how it was going to happen, and they chose to happen with four ref bumps and R-Truth. So weird how we got here, but I guess, like you said, you wouldn't be surprised if Truth won. Do you have a prediction on how the finish goes here?
So I think that somebody's going to have to get involved here if Truth is going to pull off the upset and beat Cena. And I think that that person could possibly be Jimmy Uso. I think that that person could possibly be Cody Rhodes, and I don't know who else, or Randy Orton. And the reason why I say Jimmy is now there is that rumor that it's going to be Jimmy and Jay and Cody versus Cena, Logan Paul, and Travis Scott. And so that's the rumor. And we obviously don't know if that's true, right? Like we can't confirm that, right? But if we're getting there, then Jimmy's got to get there too. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy's got to get to that point where he's like involved in this somehow because we can bridge the gap with Cody. We've got Jay versus Logan already happening. We need to get there with Jimmy somehow. So that's why I could say I could see Jimmy Uso getting involved here.
It's not that much of a stretch because Jimmy and Truth have been doing like backstage segments together, and it's Jay's brother. That's an easy. We need one more guy. Let's grab my brother. So I'm not. That's not crazy to me. I keep going back and forth. Like I can't see them actually letting Truth pin Cena, right? Like even with the help, even like with the crossroads, even with like some crazy like run-in thing, I just can't see. Even with the title on the line, I can't see the visual of Truth getting 1, 2, 3 on John.
I don't know. I just think that first of all, if Randy or Cody get involved, and I think Randy could get involved, and the way that would work would be all right. Ref gets knocked down just like in his match. He goes after Cena, and, and then afterwards he's raising Truth's hands, and then he just RKO's him, obviously, because he's got to get one back on Truth too now for screwing him out of that title match. But I think if Randy or Cody gets involved, absolutely it could happen. I think if Jimmy gets involved, it's probably a roll up. You know what I mean? Like it's probably like a surprise roll up. But as I'm saying it is a stretch for Jimmy Uso to get involved. Like as I'm like why is he coming down to the ring and helping True? Like it doesn't. I get it. It doesn't check all the boxes or make sense, but they're gonna have to make it make sense.
Has Randy been on TV since Backlash?
I don't believe so. I have to say I've been a little bit absent because of this current Knicks run and the fact that the games have been every Friday night, and it has just consumed everything. But I don't believe that Randy has been on.
All right, so that might be a thing then. Like that works.
And he could that's his way of getting back. He embarrasses John and has R-Truth pin him. It actually makes a lot of sense. And
Yeah, no,
then
that
of
does all
course
check out if they want to go that route. But then we have to do possibly John and Randy again, so it's a little bit weird there, but that's true.
maybe Randy's on that. Maybe Randy is part of the tag team that's going to take down the big bad duo of Travis Scott and John Cena.
That would be better, I think, than trying to do another singles match between the two of them. But we're doing a lot of fantasy booking and speculation. Frank, it's been fun. Anything else here to wrap it up with the Saturday Night Main Event four match card?
No, I think it'll be a good show. It'll be quick, only 4 matches, like you said. So just hopefully we'll have some fun with it, and then we'll get to the serious Money in the Bank after.
Yes, sir. All right, perfect. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone, have a great day.